growing up, I would say that my family was definitely broken. When I was in elementary school and middle school, my parents didn't have the best marriage, didn't have the best relationship. Um, they were immigrants to this country when I was in elementary school, and my dad was in grad school, and my mom was working at a restaurant to try to provide some income for the family. And I think just like financial pressures and just the pressure of raising a child, all of that was really stressful for them. So what happened was like basically my mom would be working at the restaurant as a waitress from she would work really long hours, like she would start at like noon and then work until like 11 p.m. and she's basically just on her feet all day, just running back and forth, trying to take orders, serve customers. And not only that, but she didn't know English that well. Like some customers, she couldn't communicate. She struggled to communicate with some of the customers, and they actually complained to her boss. And then her boss would actually yell at her in the kitchen in the back room, and she had to kind of deal with that stress. Not only that, but get yelled at and then go right back into work. And so it was stressful for her. And then she'd come back home after a long day, and at that time, my dad, I think, was also stressed out by his school. And so he also had a pretty bad temper. And so whenever she came home, he would just start to get really angry about, little things here and there. And, the combination of the two stressful lives usually combusted into a huge argument. And what would end up happening is that I'm in my bedroom. All of a sudden, I hear all this yelling, all this screaming. Sometimes I hear like things being thrown. After some time, my mom would actually leave the house, and she wouldn't come back for a few days. And as a child in elementary school, it was really hard to see that. It was hard to see that. It was just hard to be around that. But I think one thing that I realized was that at that time I wasn't going to church. And I definitely wouldn't say that I was a believer, but looking back at my life, I would definitely say that God was there and God was working, even though I couldn't experience it, I couldn't see it at the time. And I'm only able to see that now, being able to reflect back on the previous years. Over time, I saw a lot of the impossible things happen. I started to see my dad, who I never saw as a person who would ever even consider going to church, actually start going to church. And this was happening when I was going to college. But not only that, but he was genuinely loving church. Like he would tune into Friday night worships. He would look forward to Sundays. With that, I started to see God also helping their marriage. And so just looking at their marriage now, it's a lot better. I barely see any arguments. I barely see any explosions. I would say it's a much healthier marriage. And I realized that all of that was like all these years that God was working in both of my parents' hearts. He was using all of the difficult times to bring about his good, his glory, but also the good of our family.